So he was only nominated 4 days ago, but it's already been a full week's worth of controversy for President Trump's pick to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, E.J. Antony. The latest newly surfaced videos of him mixing in with the crowd outside the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Antony declined to comment, but the White House says he was simply a bystander who wandered over after seeing coverage on the news. Let's bring in NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley and Stuart Stevens, who served as chief strategist for Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential campaign. Welcome to both of you. So, Ryan, what more do we know about his presence at the Capitol on January 6th?
Yeah, so there's no indication that he went inside, we should say off the bat. What I've seen is videos of him in the crowd there, walking away. At the time, there was sort of tear gas being fired to the right-hand side. Alex Jones was on a megaphone to the left-hand side, and some people had actually already climbed onto the scaffolding in the background, and cops were faced off with the protesters who were trying to make their way into the Capitol. So this is before they had breached, at least on the Western Front, and completely taken over that Capitol inauguration stage. The other footage shows him on the north side of the Capitol, sort of walking just past and by, and then as well as on the east side of the Capitol, sort of walking away. And, you know, the White House issued me this statement saying that he was a bystander that day and that he was not, he basically had just wandered over, was in town because he had some meetings at his job, and then ultimately just went there and then left and did not participate in any of the actual protests, is what they say, or do anything illegal. The area that they were in there was restricted, but the barriers had likely been removed by the time that he had actually arrived.
Okay. Do you have that White House statement?
Yes. Yeah, it should be on the.
Can you just read it for me?
Yeah, I think we have it on the screen there.
There we go.
The pictures show E.J. Antony, a bystander to the events of January 6, observing and then leaving the Capitol area. E.J. was in town for meetings, and it is wrong and defamatory to suggest E.J. engaged in anything inappropriate or illegal that day.
Okay, yeah, you've perfectly encapsulated it for us with your reporting. So, Stuart, E.J. Antony, he still needs to be confirmed by the Senate. How much do you think these images are going to matter in that process?
Well, look, I was curious about this, and I looked into it. There seem to be over 20,000 PhD economists working in the United States right now. And I think it's safe to say there was only one at the insurrection. So out of all 20,000, you got to pick the one guy who was there when they were trying to storm the Capitol. I'm actually sort of surprised the White House isn't bragging about this, and it's not a detriment that he didn't go in, because they seem to love these people, and they're putting people who were in that insurrection across government. They have some in the Justice Department. We don't know if there's ICE agents who might have been there. But, the big question here is, why is Trump doing this? And it's just obvious. They want to put a stooge into these BLS. That's what they want. This is part of Trump's effort to reduce the credibility of every pillar of what makes American economy the envy of the world, that we have credible numbers, that we have honest reporting. This isn't something that's a given in a lot of countries. It's not a given in Russia. He seems to be very fond of Russia. And it's one of the things that makes America the wealthiest country in the world. And Trump is just dead set on trading that for people who will just say, yes, sir, Mr. Trump, whatever you want.
Well, look, to that point, because on a bipartisan level, Stuart, even before this, Antony was being criticized by both the left and the right. We have a number of conservative, I underline conservative economists, who have been brutally critical of Antony's qualifications to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That includes Dave Hebert at the Conservative American Institute for Economic Research, who wrote on X, quote, "I've been on several programs with him at this point and have been impressed by two things: his inability to understand basic economics and the speed with which he's gone MAGA. I can only hope the Senate blocks this." How much do you think sentiments like that will play into his confirmation?
Well, hopefully a large role. Hopefully he won't be confirmed. I mean, this is the same thing as like Pete Hegg said. There are other conservative alternatives out there, though really it's sort of odd. We're talking about left or right when we're talking about labor statistics.
Yeah,
I want to get the
numbers.
The conservative opinion of what the number 10 means versus the liberal opinion. I mean, it's just shows the sort of degradation of the entire discussion that Trump brings us into. It's completely unnecessary. You can take somebody who has gold-plated conservative credentials, if that's important to you, who wasn't at the insurrection, who was highly respected, and put them there. And end of story. Trump just picks these fights. I think in part he does this to prove that he can make senators vote for someone that they know is bad for the country. It's sort of a power through humiliation.
That's a sobering thought. Let me ask you another question, though, Stuart, because before his nomination, E.J. Antoni told Fox News that the data behind the monthly jobs report is unreliable and misleading, saying, quote, until it is corrected, the BLS should suspend issuing the monthly job reports, but keep publishing the more accurate, though less timely, quarterly data. And apparently he's since walked that back. But how much does that add to fears of political interference when it comes to the accuracy of our economic data?
Well, I mean, there's no even trying to pretend that this isn't a political appointee. I mean, he fired the person because he didn't like that month's numbers, which, I mean, he liked them a lot a few months ago. He liked them when they were not great for Joe Biden. So he fires this person and then goes and hires someone out of, you know, what has become a pretty disreputable organization now, the Heritage Foundation. At one time, I think it had a certain sort of intellectual honesty. That's gone away now. And he's putting him in here. And the only reason this person is being hired is because he will do what Donald Trump wants. And, I mean, that's just obvious. And it's really ridiculous to kind of pretend otherwise.
Okay. Ryan Riley and Stuart Stevens, thank you both so much.